I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Welcome to In Frame Out's Year in Film, where we take stock of 12 months of spectacular cinema and unfortunate rubbish. With the gurgling backwash of December slurping down the plug hole, it's finally time to discard the dregs of the features that failed us. Having stood loud and proud for the best films of the year, let's squat down in the gutter and sob our eyes out to entries 5 through 1 of our worst films of 2022. If you like what we do and want to see us continue through 2023 and beyond, you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month by checking out our Patreon at the link in the description below. The Bubble is dressed up like a comedy, broadly staged as a farce, and making the smirking jerk-off motions of self-awareness, but not one dull, drab, miserable, monotonous, insipid, or irritating second of it works. A humiliating exercise in dead-on-arrival improvisation, where everyone just seems to randomly stammer until Judd Apatow wakes up from behind the camera. The performances are figuratively and, at times, literally phoned in by a glassy-eyed ensemble that consistently mistakes gags for just spamming the scene with sentences that run on forever. With a premise that wears thin within the first 3 minutes of its 2-hour runtime, there's an almost unquantifiable lack of imagination or effort anywhere to be found. If jokes were drops of water, you'd eke out a dehydrated death rattle long before anything here so much as raised a smile. Toss in the fact that it's uglier than a gum-toothed alligator sucking on a sewer grate, and structured like a test to see if the part of your brain that controls hatred still works, and the Bubble starts to feel like a black hole from which no joy can escape.
Wait, am I supposed to say something?
You're supposed to shut the fuck up.
Oh, sorry.
I'm a wall. Anyone know the number to 911? Oh,
Machine Gun Kelly is a quintuple threat. Emphasis on the word threat. As a rapper, he's a boastful embarrassment. As a pop-punk pretender, he's pathetic. And now he's added writing, directing, and acting to his resume of things he's horrendously bad at. Good Mourning documents the many ways in which MGK's pigeon-brained idiocy and my grandma says I'm handsome arrogance exceeds anything approaching talent. Mugging for the camera in the same way an infant gleefully showcases the acrid dump they just took in their bubble bath. So derivative it stole its title from Alkaline Trio, and about as funny as watching a loved one die. Here, cameos are mistaken for characters, endless egomaniacal wankery takes the place of a plot, and the only thing that comes within 1,000 unmarked graves of a joke is an assemblage of shots of various dudes smoking weed, as if that in and of itself is in any way amusing. MGK's cultural and artistic understanding is so basic. At one point he seems genuinely amazed that someone else has heard the super obscure Adams song by that underground niche band Blink-182. Sure, it's as misogynistic and amateurishly aimless as their music, but what MGK and his associate Modson have made with Good Mourning is a truly hideous vanity project and a work of almost unparalleled annoyingness.
Here on my preserve, I hunt even more dangerous game.
no.
You have big game here on the island?
The most dangerous.
Isn't that a coincidence?
What could that be?
The Most Dangerous Game is one of the most influential pieces of literature ever conceived, and has spawned over 100 reimaginings and adaptations to date. So trust me when I say, folks, that this is really special. Flubbed lines are left in because second takes are for cowards. The top billed cast are all killed off after one brief scene and are only here so they can collect an easy couple of grand for the half hour they spent shooting this disaster. The goofy rubber props are all clearly from a Halloween store. There are less than 10 minutes of hunting in the whole film, with the rest consisting of folks slowly walking through the woods or being outacted by trees. And Casper Van Dien attempts a German accent in the same way I would attempt to touch the moon by standing on a chair and thrusting my hand into the night sky.
Shall I tear out your eyes as well? Go!
This is inept in a way that approaches Money Plane and Troll 2 levels of failure. I mean, what I'm showing you right now, this is supposed to be a luxury ocean liner in the 1920s. Despite the Walmart polyester shirts, patchy drywall, and fact that it's clearly a small room in an elderly person's bungalow they were allowed to borrow for the afternoon. The Most Dangerous Game is an experimental masterclass in screwing up, and God bless the raging lunatics who shat it into existence.
Asha! Hey! Let go, Asha.
I just want to call Emily.
Asha, let go,
no,
Asha.
I'll give it back after, I promise. I just need... Oh my God!
Grimcutty is a creatively bereft would-be horror about a creepypasta that comes to life and starts tormenting an aspiring ASMR influencer. Yup, the major crux of what's going on here boils down to watching a bratty teen whose main goal in life is to lackadaisically whisper into a microphone, running from a meme. Want to know how our protagonist copes with the stress of a demonic JPEG? She loudly butters toast so she can listen to the soothing sounds of bread. It's art like this that makes me proud I went to film school. The cinematic equivalent of downloading a LimeWire virus directly into your urinal tract, and so narcoleptically boring it could be used to put down injured dogs, its contradictory lesson seems to be parents shouldn't get caught up in stupid moral panics and smother their kids, but also they absolutely should because the internet is the devil and will make your children die. The sole relatable moment in this whole movie is when someone unfurls a crumpled piece of paper that simply reads, "F this shit." My sentiments exactly, Grimcutty. The only reason it isn't number one on this list is that occasionally I found time to giggle at its antics, which cannot be said of our coup de grace.
So, as the wife says at 10 p.m. after Dateline every single week, take off your pants.
Where did Kevin Smith fall off? Jersey Girl? Cop Out? For me, it was the moment he vanished up his own ass, with the 3 strikes and you're out cold streak of Red State, Tusk, and Yoga Hosers, which are collectively gunning against Atlas Shrugged as the worst trilogy of the 21st century. Still, he seems like a nice guy and he made Clerks. I'm not here to argue about the former, but you may as well take that get out of movie jail free card and burn it, because Clerks III is a humorless, endlessly smug, self-aggrandizing, sexist, racist, sentimentally bankrupt, pretentious torrent of Xeroxed phlegm. I know some of you no doubt enjoyed Clerks too, and for some of you I'm guessing that's because of rose-tinted hindsight and forgetting that whole sequence of out and proud bigotry masquerading as a bit.
He's a racial slur against black people.
No, it's not. Is.
Randall!
Those are racial slurs.
Part 3 takes the nostalgia-huffing emptiness of Smith's modern-day output and magnifies everything until it becomes a distorted blur of referential masturbation. The self-important stench of its farting legacy directly conflicting with and undermining the ragged slice-of-life relatability of the first installment in a way that somehow makes that seminal classic worse, all the while failing to be funny even once.
Like a movie, one with actors and a screenplay and crafty.
What's crafty?
That's where the crew hangs out and practices witchcraft, you little devil worshipper.
Half of Clerks III is a surface-level stand-in for Smith's real-life health concerns, and the other half is a shot-for-shot remake of Clerks, with both sides of the coin rusted over and worthless as anything other than vapid indulgence. What you're left with is basically an R-rated episode of The Big Bang Theory in View Askewniverse cosplay.
I think I get it now.
Get what? NFTs and crypto?
Strangled further by endless, piercing, and already out-of-date rants about geek culture, a cast that clicks together about as well as battery acid and a breakfast burrito, and a lead performance from Brian O'Halloran that proves once and for all that he's one of the worst actors who has ever lived. Each endless monologue, every gag that hits like a prison yard shiv, desperately scrambling to say something about the human condition without properly building the characters or circumstances to facilitate that kind of discussion. Insultingly conceited, outright emotionally manipulative, devoid of comedy, and narcissistically infatuated with its own reflection, Clerks III is In Frame Out's worst film of 2022. And those were our bottom 5 films of the year. For anyone who's missed out on any of our end of the year videos, there's a handy link to the playlist in the description below. With that, it's time to say goodbye to another 365 days, and move on to all the fresh delights and miserable moments 2023 has to offer. A lump of coal for our Patreon producers Jennifer C, Claire MD, Beckio, Hales and Rue, Historically Dumb, Scared Confusion, Jake R, and Nicholas Lerevere, and a suspicious smelling stocking for all these amazing folks who support us over on Patreon. Did you manage to catch any of these turkeys? If so, what did you think of them? Let us know your worst films of the year in the comments, and make sure to do all that like, share, subscribe stuff. If you're in a position to do so, consider checking out our Patreon, where you can get membership to the In Frame Out Film Club, your name in the credits, and access to our private Discord. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, this is In Frame Out.